Hi, Gerald. You have tested generating images with AI for our podcast. Can you share some insights you gained?
Yes, I can. I looked at 3 different tools, DALL-E 2, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion. To be honest, I liked Midjourney the most. It created the best images with very general prompts, so that was nice. So I used the free credits that you get, I think it's 25, to test a lot, to look at a lot of prompts on the internet and modify them. And then I got the paid subscription for our podcast and started testing with episode 3 of our podcast. Episode 3 is about letting ChatGPT do the heavy lifting in content creation. So I started with a prompt, a friendly looking robot that uses a typewriter. The robot has already written hundreds of papers. So I thought that's relevant for our episode. The result was nice, but there was no paper in it. And the robot was attached to the typewriter, so that was a bit strange. So to fix the two things, I tested a lot of different prompts. So for example, the first part changed it in robot and typewriter, robot in front of a typewriter, a robot and the word typewriter in 2 different sentences. I even said a robot that is not attached to a typewriter, but in every case, they were still attached in one machine. Then I tried the paper part to make it better. So I used stacks of paper in the background, stacks of paper, multiple stacks of A4 size paper. I couldn't fix the typewriter part. The paper part was good in some images, but in most it wasn't. So I changed my prompt. Ultimately, I used a friendly looking robot writing a novel with a pen and paper, multiple stacks of A4 size paper in the background. This image was nice, but it was not what I wanted in my first attempt. What I did then is I looked at the Prompt Mania Midjourney prompt builder, and I've looked at the openart.ai prompt book to get a lot of inspiration. And they talk about 2 interesting things. The first one is using modifier words to choose a style. And the second one is adding magic words. So for the modifier words, I used the style Pixar, for example, and I tested with Primer Clay style. And for the magic words, you can use a lot of specifications. So for example, studio lighting, shallow depth of field, professional photograph, high resolution, things like that. So my final prompt was a friendly looking robot writing a novel with a pen and paper, multiple stacks of H4 size paper in the background, studio lighting, high resolution, professional photograph, Pixar style.
Wow.
This one was almost perfect. The only thing is that the pencil, in some versions it was floating. In some versions it had 2 sides which you can write with. So that was a bit strange. But you get 4 examples every prompt you give. So I choose the best one, used the upscale function in Discord, because you have to fill in the prompts in Discord. And then you get it in the right size. And I used that one for episode 3. Then for episode 1 and 2, it was a lot easier because I could just copy the prompt that I had and edited a few things. So for example, a friendly looking robot with a question mark floating in the background and a friendly looking robot walking on the street reading a map. So for episode 1 and 2, I only needed 2 attempts.
Yeah, that sounds nice, Gerald, but do you have some takeaways for the listeners?
Yes, a few. I think the images that are created by Midjourney, also if you use a general prompt, are very, very impressive, very nice. But if you want something very specific, so for example, the robot and the typewriter or the pencil in the hand, it can be hard. Sometimes maybe I can improve my prompting skills, but I think sometimes the AI needs more data, for example, to train how to hold a pencil in a hand, things like that. And I think the second way is the modifier words and the magic words can really make a difference. You can find a lot of examples online with prompt builders, the openart.ai book that I talked about. So yeah, go and test with that. And I will add the prompts that I used in the show notes of this episode, so people can check it there.
Well, Gerald, thanks for your insights.
Thanks.